Thank you for listening. A list of content warnings can be found in the episode description. Take care. Enjoy the show. Planescape Torment, the Unofficial audio series. A narrative let's play adapted and produced by RevocerGM. Combining in-game audio with additional voice acting through dialogue and descriptions to improve your listening experience. Rediscover the amazing story of the 1999 cult classic isometric video game, Planescape Torment, like you've never heard before. Day 6, hour 2 after any peak. I've rapidly found myself embroiled in the worries of the hive. It seems every corner I turn, I see fresh despair, families at war, the displaced seeking remembrance, the petty squabbles of factions as they undermine one another. And I even find myself participating. I'm drawn to the Dustman's acceptance of things, a view that we must pass through these trials in order to reach a greater state of being. Yet as Dakon points out, it may be that this need to act, and to aid, and to deflect is a distraction from my own fear of self. I do need to find Pharod. I need to learn who I was, if I am to be. A rumble from the tunnels of the mausoleum echoes out of the shrinking portal, kicking a final puff of grave dust into the humid night air. And the three of you crash unceremoniously onto the rain-slicked flagstones. Bruised and exhausted, you find yourself at last back under the inky blanket of the sigil sky, yearning for the gentle hubbub of the hive.
What now, Chief?
I need rest. Yeah, I think we find somewhere for the night.
It's a bit of a trek to the flophouse.
Well, surely there's somewhere we can set up camp.
Let's at least get out of the Grey District. This may come as a surprise, but I don't want to wake up back in some tomb.
All right. Then, tomorrow, a few things to clear up, I guess, and then we go about finding Pharod.
Remind me how we're gonna do that?
There was that rat catcher who told me about someone named Creedon who was supposed to know about getting through the portal in Ragpicker's Square. We'll find them near the Office of Vermin and Disease Control. Let us move on. The clouds begin to threaten more rain. As you pick your way through the worn stones of the Grey District, the clouds above thicken into a heavy fog, and in the darkness and unfamiliarity of these ruins, you find yourself hopelessly lost. You can barely see beyond 50 feet, and in your blind stumble, you start to hear a strange gibbering. Loping in the murk is the form of an oddly shaped humanoid. You can smell the reek of dung and rotting meat on this figure, even from afar. Chief, we should keep moving. No sense in talking to some gravedigger. Mort will last. Maybe they can guide us out. Greetings, stranger. The figure halts and begins to scamper in your direction. Their eyes are set deeply into hollow sockets, and their skin is terribly pale and diseased, covered with rashes and yellowed patches that look ready to peel from its body at any moment. The stench emanating from them is terrible. It tries to fix its eyes on you, but they cannot keep their gaze from wandering. Are you okay?
You dead.
What did you say?
You.
Their long, spindly fingers pick at their skin as it stares at you.
You dead.
They glance to your left over to Mort, then its eyes dart back to you as they continue to scratch beneath their filthy robe.
Dead. Hungry.
Chief, I really don't like this.
Me marrow friend. You bring food.
It leers towards Mort with their hands outstretched, and you suddenly notice that they have a finger hanging from a cord about their neck. It looks like there is a ring on it.
But back off, grave licker. Hey.
Hey, hold on. Food. What do you normally eat?
Bones, marrow, meat.
It now reaches out to you, licking its scabrous lips as a yellowish drool drips from its mouth. For a moment, you consider striking them down, but instead, against every warning in your mind, you let them touch you.
Eat.
Its fingers scrabble, spider-like, on your arm, as if looking for a piece to tear off, and with a raspy moan, the nails dig in and pull off a bit of skin. And you watch, your stomach churning as it takes the bit of flesh and begins chewing it.
You dead?
No, I'm not dead.
You taste dead. Still hungry.
Where do you usually get your meat? It makes a snuffling noise like a pig.
Dead.
Just the dead?
Yes. The living would hunt me.
What is that finger bone you have there? It looks down, their plague-ridden features twisting into a ghastly, snaggle-toothed parody of a grin.
A snack.
It looks ready to chew on it. Don't eat that. Have another bite off me instead. I'm more fresh.
What?
It smiles and reaches for your outstretched hand. Give me the finger bone first, marrow friend. Without taking their eyes off your forearm, the creature nods greedily and passes you the finger. It truly is horrible to witness their teeth sink into your skin and with a single wrench of their neck pull away a chunk of flesh. The pain is excruciating, but Marrow Friend sits on its haunches as if nothing had happened, chewing happily at the mouthful of meat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, friend, would you be able to lead us back onto the streets?
Streets dangerous. Living hunt me. I take you close, but not to light.
Fair enough. Lead on, Marrow Friend. The ghoulish figure guides you through the remnants of the Grey District, and you are relieved to finally see the familiar crotchety streets loom into your vision. A few bubbers stumble about, gurgling like ghouls themselves, and as you turn to thank your guardian, he's gone. Just the faint whiff of his smell remains.
I'm not even gonna ask what went through your mind back then.
I get the feeling that this ring is...
I mean it. I don't even want to know.
Some of these buildings look abandoned. We could rest here for the night. Sure. Let's see if we can find one with a solid enough roof. Indeed, as you begin to feel the glow of the streetlights, the clouds break open, unleashing the first drops of the downpour. And just in time, you find an empty-looking hovel and head inside. The interior is a ruin. What meager light glances through the odd crack reveals heaps of rubble piled up in each corner, and any semblance of furniture has long been smashed to pieces. It is smaller than it had seemed on the outside, and you had thought you'd seen a shattered window as you approached. But it doesn't matter right now. It's dry, and is as good a shelter as any could want when desperate. As the other two bed down, your mind wanders to the finger bone. It is decayed and nearly meatless. It looks to be from a humanoid of roughly your size. The odd ring, still attached, is an intricate thing, sculpted with dozens of tiny ornate flanges and decorative protrusions. Oddly enough, it seems firmly rooted to the finger itself, and no amount of pulling or prying will budge the thing, almost as if the ring's jagged edges have dug into the lifeless flesh and refused to release it. You have an odd feeling about it, however, and as you worry it in your hand, strange images cross your mind, flashes of a distant memory, the feeling of arcane power at your behest, a woman, her life cut short, the slice of a dagger as it severs the index finger on her left hand. Almost without thinking, you place the ring finger of your left hand into your mouth, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and bite down as hard as you can. There is a sickening crunch, and you are overcome with the taste and smell of blood. You spit the bloody finger out and place the rotted, ring-laden finger bone against the gushing stump. But nothing is happening. What horror have you just done? Then slowly, you feel an uncomfortable tingling sensation as bones fuse and tendons reknit. In moments, the rotting finger bone has become a living part of your body. though it still throbs in agony. The jagged ring loosens its bite and slips off into the palm of your hand. Overwhelmed by the experience and possibly the blood loss, you drift away into a heavy sleep.
You have awakened.
What's wrong?
We have a small problem.
The door is gone.
What?
You jump to your feet in an incredulous hope to see them mistaken. Yet where you would expect to see a door, you find a solid daubed wall with a large wooden picture frame hung in the center. Thinking back now, you don't remember closing a door. The three of you were so tired, it hadn't even crossed your mind.
What the... How?
As you attempt to rationalize the situation, a leering face appears in the frame as if a painting had suddenly sprung into existence. And after a moment, a short charcoal-skinned dwarf with a shock of white hair steps through, swiftly followed by two larger brutes.
Delicious ones. Good of you to come. I hope you don't mind the mess. My colleagues haven't had the time to tidy up.
The portal has already vanished behind them.
A gith, a skull, and a human? Humanish. Interesting. Oh, she will be pleased.
This dwarf has an elegant grace about him. He flaunts straight into the center of the room with no fear of resistance, his dark patterned robe swishing as he whirls about, inspecting your scars. You notice a dark webbing embossed across his shoulders.
What's going on? Who is this she?
Oh, you'll find out. After all, she prefers her produce fresh and full of vitality, and she does have a habit of talking while she eats.
Sounds charming. And how will we get to her? There's no way out.
Oh, why sure there is. The portal is right there. You just need one of these to activate it.
He holds up what appears to be a small pearlescent bead.
Come, she has been waiting.
And what if we refuse?
No, I didn't expect you'd go willingly.
Dakon readies his glaive.
Would be nice once in a while.
And with a wave of the bead, a luminous pattern fills the space, and your companions fall into a serene stupor.
Ooh, you're a strong one. Delicious indeed. I must introduce myself. My name is Vlas.
You have a deep urge to close your eyes and submit to the gentleness.
And you are...
But with the strange ring still in your hand, you focus your mind and slip it onto your finger. You feel a sharp bite as it latches into your skin, and a fragment of latent power awakens in your memory.
I don't have time for this.
Your eyes glow with iridescent light as you weave an intricate pattern through the air.
Oh my.
As the brutes step forward, a dazzling array of color bursts from your hands, and they halt, eyes blank, bodies suspended in motion. But Vlask is unaffected, and with a curious grin, he begins incanting another spell. You won't let this happen again. You rush forward, jam your fingers directly into his mouth,
Still delicious.
and with a swift crack to the top of his head, you knock him unconscious. With his spell broken, Mort and Dakon come to, and you tie the three together in their own bindings, casting away their weapons and taking Vlask's portal key along with any valuables. Tied about his waist is a small pouch containing several of these fragile glass beads. A colorful mist swirls inside them, and from the feel, you presume you're supposed to crush them. As you do, the picture frame opens onto a clear view of the drizzly pavement outside.
What shall we do with them? Cast them onto the street. Let the hive deal with them.
As Dakon pushes their docile bodies through the portal, you toss the pouch of beads into the center of the room and block the false door from the outside to at least try and prevent anyone else from falling victim to this same trap. And with the day ahead of you, you make once again for the Gathering Dust Bar.
Governor, please, help a poor burk on the streets.
This man is sprawled on the pavement and appears to be injured. He reaches his arms out to you to beckon you over.
Thanks stopping. Me name is Ma, and I have a favour to ask you for.
He looks to be in desperate need of a long bath and a change of clothes. I'm listening.
'Tis a matter of life or death. I must be delivering this here box, or it'd be me head for sure. 'tis me bad luck that I twisted me leg, something fierce. So will you help me out by delivering this here box for me?
Where does it need to go?
This needs to be delivered to Kuatra. He keeps a warehouse near the Primer's Gate.
It's not too far from the gathering dust, and this man looks to be in dire straits. All right, hand it over. Ma slowly takes out a small box from within the recesses of his ragged clothing. For the briefest of moments, you see a look of regret cross his face, and it is gone. As he places it into your hand, there is a slight shimmer, and he releases a sigh of relief.
Thank you. And lest you try to say I didn't warn you, whatever happens, don't open the box, and don't leave the hive with the box. Now hurry along.
I'll get round to it. Farewell.
Thank you, Cutter. Thank you. May the lady's shadow pass you by.
After the night's downpour, the air feels cool, and the light drizzle is quite refreshing following the strains of the previous day. There is a grey clarity to the streets about you. On your way to the Gathering Dust Bar, not far from where you met him previously, you see Bane the Sender, who originally mistook you for Craddock. He looks exhausted, and not just a little harrowed.
Friend. I feared I'd never catch you again.
Bane, are you all right?
Well, I sought out one of the larger hive markets, and someone helpfully directed me to the night market near the gatehouse. It could have gone better. One of the bleak cabal took a little pity on me and guided me back out before things got too nasty.
You notice his once fine attire is ripped in a few places, and dirt crusts up his side as if he had bathed in a puddle at some point since you last saw him.
Were you perchance successful in finding Craddock, good sir?
Yes, and I passed along the message, although it didn't seem to please him any. Bane doesn't seem to have heard anything after the word yes, for he smiles and heaves a sigh of relief.
Oh, good fortune indeed. Oh, thank you. Oh, good sir, thank you.
He reaches into his coat and pulls forth a handful of coppers, along with a blood-stained handkerchief, counts out a quick sum in his head, then hands them to you.
33 commons for services rendered to the House of Senders.
No. Honestly, it's okay.
Nonsense. No, you did a job, and you must be compensated.
Fair enough.
Oh, more than fair, good sir, more than fair. I can say without hesitation that there is no finer profession in all Sigil than that of a runner for the House of Senders.
I'll keep that in mind. Take care of yourself, Bane. You enter the Gathering Dust Bar and immediately see Norroch. He is pulling at one of his spikes of hair and using it to scratch a spot on his face. You can't help but think he'd very much suit dreadlocks.
Returned, you have. You bring news of the mausoleum, I hope.
Yes, the dead sleep again. You place the necromancer's diary onto the table in front of him. This should explain a little of what happened. Norroch's lines of worry smooth out as you speak. He reaches into his bag and draws forth another parcel of coins.
Thanks, give I. More coin for your purse. The dustmen benefit greatly from your service.
Glad I could help. Farewell. Over at the head table, Emmerich's stony gaze fixes upon you, and he beckons you over. You continue to impress the dustmen. Few can be relied on to act with such efficacy here in the hive. Well, how's the saying go? I'll rest when I'm dead? Your joke falls flat on unwilling ears, and he remains as silent as ever. I spoke with awaiting death. I am aware. I would know what you spoke of. He has chosen life over death for now. I would know your thoughts on awaiting death's choice. Something from his past urges him to seek death's release. He looks to it as a savior from this existence, not a journey to undertake. He is not a dustman. Perhaps in time. Your thoughts are known to me. Emmerich nods slowly. You have done as I asked. Do you wish to continue with your initiation? Yes. There is more I would learn about the Dustman faction. I have another test. He leans towards you and beckons you closer, showing the first signs of concern you have witnessed on him yet. An initiate of the Fifth Circle, Swago, has undertaken missionary service for the Dustman. Emmerich falls silent for a moment. You don't know whether he's trying to make a point or whether he's confused. His path is not one known to me, nor to the faction. I would know his whereabouts. Swago, I met him. Isn't he posted at the mortuary? No longer. His departure was sudden. Do you have any idea where I would start? While the Dustman may be passive in the affairs of Sigil as a whole, we do have eyes in the other wards. None have reported of Swago's whereabouts. He went missing several days ago. Do you think he's dead? It is possible, of course. Yet few dead are left long before they return to the mortuary. Speak with Seer at the bar, another initiate of the Fifth Circle. While her heart has grown bitter towards the Dustman, she has been with us longer than most, and met many who have passed through these doors. She may have some insight on him. All right. I'll do what I can to find him. Farewell. Stooped over a bowl of tea at the bar, you see a striking woman. The creases in her face suggest a long and full life. Her hair flares from her temples like a flame of silver and copper, and dozens of bangles clack about her wrists. As you sit next to her, she turns and stares at you.
La, who comes a-calling in Seer today? Death's dearest son?
She looks you up and down, then shakes her head in disbelief.
By every power in its mother, boy, what crypt did you crawl out of?
Well, the crypt was losing its charm, so now I'm looking around for the right place to die. Know of anywhere? She barks a laugh that rattles your ears.
Well, not here. Unless you want to die of boredom.
What's wrong with here?
Somebody pinch your sense and your sight, boy.
She waves a hand around the bar.
Look around, what do you see?
Dustman.
Very good.
Seer chuckles dryly, though she doesn't seem to be laughing at you.
At the risk of explaining myself, Dustmen are the dullest breed of dullards ever to nest in Sigil. Always speaking of death reverently, like it's some holy union that every creature in the multiverse should strive for.
But you're a Dustman.
Dustman? I suppose.
Seer sniffs.
I've seen enough sand pass through the hourglass while wearing these robes. This body's almost ready to pay the ferryman.
She chuckles, but there's not much mirth in it. Are you afraid of dying?
Of course I am, boy. Who isn't? Well, except Dustman. They're not afraid because they've been swallowing so much of their own bat droppings over the decades. They've blinded themselves into thinking that death is some kind of release.
So what sparked this crisis of faith? She shrugs.
Life, I suppose. Never you mind. I won't bore you with the gory details.
I'd like to know, actually.
Oh, would you? How old do you take me for, boy?
Old?
Well, you're wrong. I'm really old. Now, I've spent most of my long years teaching dustmen. I've seen many dustmen whelps grow through within our order, taught them the ways of the faction, kept the faith, preached the tenets of the faction, and so on and so on. No questions, no doubt. This life was merely an antechamber that led to the true death.
What happened?
Well, a half-month back I went sick with a fever. I thought it was the end. It rattled my cage.
How? Her face becomes as stone.
There's something about having your faction members circle around your deathbed like a pack of pale-faced ghouls, nodding and agreeing that your suffering and dying is all for the best. Oh, Seer is so fortunate. She shall soon be relieved of the burden of life. Burden of life? That's when it struck me.
That a queer expression comes over her features.
That there's something addled about not appreciating your life. The Dustman keeps saying that life is misery and suffering. Is it? That we should be happy to pass on into oblivion, should we?
She shakes her head.
Questions, and precious few answers.
What will you do?
To be square, boy, I don't know. That's the problem with doubt. I can't even trust that what I'm feeling is true, or if I'm scared of death only because of my brush with the fever, or even what I should do. Is this a passing thing? I don't know. I'll have to chew it over some more.
You should. It's no small matter.
Lar, now, enough of me rattling on about my woes. You look like you've shared a few handshakes with death yourself. Hasn't that changed your views somewhat? Doesn't it make you appreciate life a bit more?
Yes, I suppose.
And well, it should. Nothing comforting about death.
Well, my condition is unique. I woke up in the mortuary with no memory at all. I think they mistook me for a corpse and were prepared to bury me. The strange thing is, I think I actually had died and got better. See, it blinks.
You're rattling my coffin.
Not really. She studies your face.
Strange are the ways of the plains, and I've seen too much to throw any tale out with the wash. If it's true, why does this happen?
I don't know.
Makes two of us then? Most peculiar.
Do you have any idea why this happens?
Nope, not a one. Never knew anyone who death wouldn't take. Until now.
Well, perhaps I could ask you some other questions.
Questions? Well, you can ask.
Sia looks at you with a steely eye, then smiles.
Crypt crawler.
I wanted to ask you about some of the dustmen.
No harm in it. I've seen many of the initiates of these past years come and go. Who's on your mind?
Actually, Emmerich has tasked me to seek out a missing initiate, Swago. I met him at the mortuary. Do you know him?
You met him at the mortuary? You mean when you woke up on a slab? Aye. And that boy used to be a student of mine in his early days. Then he went on his own path. He'd still be a regular here, though, when I talked to him some. Recently, not so much. Don't know what happened to him. Could be he was shaken up after his friend died.
Explain.
Well, one of his friends was killed in the hive a few weeks ago, torn apart by rats.
She shakes her head.
Messy business.
Has Swago always been a guide at the mortuary?
No, only for the past few months. And last I heard, he was just sent off for some missionary duty. But I don't know where.
She bites her lip.
If Emmerich's got you in a search party, that is troubling. That old bronze statue don't move lightly.
Can you tell me about Emmerich?
That old fool? I taught him too, you know. And I used to hold the man in high regard, then I woke up. He's a rusty old ghoul that sits here in his off hours to make sure the younger dustmen have a symbol of authority here in this bar. Oh, old vulture.
She throws a sly glance to the head table.
Go on. Who else have you met? I'll give you the dark on them.
How about Mordai?
Mordai? I mean, which other dustmen have you met?
What do you mean?
Mordai's so anxious to impress his betters by getting the most dead contract signed that I wonder if he'll ever be a dustman.
I see.
It's said that passions kill. For dustmen, it's the opposite. Passions keep you alive. And if you can't strip yourself of eagerness, greed, ambition, then you're doomed to never truly die because life will always hold a piece of you. Next. Who else?
Dal.
They can't let him die for fear that he'd bore death, if you know what I mean. He was my instructor in the philosophical arts during my early training. He'll outlive us all.
What about Evine, one of the embalmers at the mortuary? Do you know her?
Who?
A strange young woman. Poor eyesight, near deaf. Talons for hands. Sia shakes her head and looks a little irritated.
Never heard of her? Evine?
Maybe I'm mistaken. I should probably take my leave. Thank you, Seer.
Oh, all right. No, no. Thank you, Crypt Crawler. Best chat I've had in months. Don't take that as too much of a compliment, mind. Just a reflection on who I'm normally dealing with.
She winks at the corpse behind the bar top. Fair enough. Next time, then.
Aye.
You lead the gathering dust and head downward through the Primer's Gate, hoping to find the warehouse so you can drop off this box you'd said you'd deliver and finally get about your own business. Looking at it more closely, you see it is adorned with intricate designs etched in gold. At one time, you imagined it would have been quite valuable. However, years of neglect have taken their toll, and it appears to be falling apart. If not for the large ruby mounted on its front, it would likely be completely worthless. There's something about the appearance that you can't put your mind on, though. Your stomach begins to sink, and a tightness grips your shoulders.
Lady, strike me blind. I've seen you before, Cutter, but I never thought I'd see you again. Siggle's much smaller than you think, I suppose.
You know me?
No, nay, but like I said, I seen you. It was last year, late at night near Antipeak, looking for my sister I was, when you came tearing past like mad. Stumbled and dropped this, you did, right at my feet, before running off. I kept it for good luck, seeing as how fate saw fit to drop it right in front of me there. Here, seeing as I've run into you again, it seems right for me to return it. Like I was meant to be here. Takes it back, farewell.
She holds up a wicked-looking dagger.
Thanks. Farewell.
Wait. Do you know which one of these buildings is Kuatra's warehouse?
Kuatra? Aye, it's just further down the street. Look for the large doorway, broad enough for a carriage. It's usually open for all the comings and goings.
Thank you. Farewell.
Wooden crates and wrapped-up parcels pile into towers that line the inside of Kuatra's warehouse, and rows of dingy shelves house all kinds of goods to be shipped across Sigil and the plains. There's a smell of sawdust in the air, and a near-constant clattering noise as chutes open and close with the arrival of new packages. You interrupt a group of tired workers as they haul their cargo onto laden carts, gesturing without patience towards the corner of the store when asked about Kuatra's whereabouts. Scampering from box to box, this short-scaled man is totally immersed in counting packages and itemizing every article. His beady eyes flicker away from his notebook only briefly as you address him, scribbling all the while.
What is it now? Can't you see I'm busy taking inventory? Go bother someone else.
I was told to deliver this box to you.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so in the first place? Let's see what you've got for me. I'm sure it'll need to be inventoried.
He leaps down from a short stepladder, adjusting the broad spectacles on the ridge of his snout.
What do we have here? No, please!
Kuatra's expression drops from interest to a mask of horror. He clambers up onto a shelf to distance himself from the box.
Oh, get it away from me!
I don't understand. What's wrong?
I said get back! Death! Evil! Had to dupe. Ma couldn't take it anymore. Please! To Braskin. Take it. Lives off the ditch near Office of Vermin. Hive. Me. No!
Apparently, the sight of the box is just too much for him, and he runs, screaming from the building.
Wait! What am I supposed to do with...
The other workers shrug and continue their labor, leaving you dumbfounded.
Oh, Chief. What have you gotten us into now?
What gives? It's just a damned box.
You could just leave it on the floor?
I don't know. You saw the man. He practically flew from the thing.
Well, on the bright side, we're heading to the Office of Vermin and Disease Control anyway.
All right. Let's go there, then find this... Braskin, did he say?
It doesn't take you long to reach the Office of Vermin and Disease Control. It's near Powers Row, and you're quite familiar with the area after Mebeth's tasks. The building itself is marked by a large symbol of a rat skull nestled in a circle of blades. Stood by the entrance is a wiry halfling, his bare chest covered in blue woad-like paint, and perched on his head is a well-worn pink skull cap. He leans against a long pole almost 3 times his height, with dozens of skinned and cooked rats dangling from it. Despite his wild appearance, his eyes beam with an inviting warmth, and he smiles as you approach him.
Oi, Cutter. How you doing there? What sort of delicious ratsy is you interested in this fine day?
He points to each in turn with a grimy fingernail.
I got them baked, spiced, boiled and charred. All fresh, all scrumptious. And only 3 coppers for 2.
Spiced.
Oh, excellent choice.
You hand over your coppers, and in one swift motion, he springs into the air and skewers a pair of spiced rats and places them in your hand.
Enjoy, Cutter.
The rat meat is aromatic and surprisingly well seasoned, apparently marinated from peak to peak in a secret mixture of herbs and spices. It is a bit greasy, though, and rather rich, tasting of some other meat you're sure you've had before.
Did you like? Would you like another?
It was good, but I did have some questions for you. He shoulders his rat pole casually.
Oh, no problem. What's your questions, Cutter?
I'm looking for someone named Creedon. I'm supposed to find them around here.
Oh, what, me? Why, I'm Creedon, that's me. Sometimes called Creed, the butcherer of rats.
He strikes a heroic pose and smiles grandiosely, exposing a row of false golden teeth. You certainly seem friendlier than most around here.
Well, Cutter, I try. Result of my business, I think. Most folk around here are a peery and downright unfriendly lot. But I want every Cutter to know that Creedon's always got a warm smile and a piping hot fresh-cooked ratsy for him.
He winks at you. Then his demeanor immediately becomes more solemn.
You see, things aren't so good here. Life is hard. I'll just say that some folk will do whatever it takes to get by, they will, without much regard to the birks around them. Easy to get lost in the hive, it is.
Lost? Dead, Chief. Dead.
Aye. And if I can make one Burke's day a little brighter, then I'll sleep all the better each night.
So about these rats.
Yeah, a bit of an expert in that field I am. What's your question, Cutter?
These are cranium rats, right?
Aye, Cutter. Brain vermin. Squeakers. Foul creatures they are. When you get more than a handful of little pikers together, they start to get smart on you. Sometimes real smart.
They become more intelligent.
Oh, sure as I'm standing here before you, they do. If I ran across any more than 2 score of them, I'd flee from a case like that.
Why? What is there to fear?
Sorcery, Cutter. Sorcery. You get enough of those little fiends in a space, they gain all sorts of odd powers. Make a basher's brain pour out his ears, they will. Downright frightening. It's just wrong, I tell you. That's why Sigel's so eager to be rid of them. The bounty and all.
Who pays for the rat tails?
His name's Phineas T. Lort. I think he was some sort of high-up, he was. He was put down by his rivals and stuck here in the arse end of Sigel.
Put down? Any idea where that would happen?
Well, he's right chatty. He is. He'll rattle his bone box for hours and hours on just how smart he is and the like. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Bore a devil out of a contract, he would.
Where do you go to catch all these rats?
Oh, what, these?
He jiggles the pole, causing the skinned rats to bounce in a macabre little jig.
In cellars and alleyways about the hive, me very own home and place of business.
Not in Ragpicker's Square.
Aye, that's a grand place for hunting it is. What's got you poking about up in the Pickers Square anyway?
I'm looking for someone. Pharod. You know him? He looks a bit surprised.
Pharod? Why'd a Cutter be looking for a man like that?
It's a long story. I just need to find him.
You want all sorts of chant, you do. He's a right crafty fellow, the Pharod. If you came from Ragpicker's Square, you're looking in the right place for sure. Nowhere else in Sigil he could hide for that long.
I was told you may know how to get through a portal in a large trash-packed archway up on the platforms above the square.
Aye, I know what you're speaking of, but I never been through myself. There was a lass, named Nels, who I saw walk through there once. I don't know how she did it, though. You could probably find her by the bridge downward of here, rooting around in a pile of lumber for nails and the like.
Right. Nels, got it. He touches your arm.
I see you leaving, Cutter. But before you go, would you like a nice, delicious ratsy? One for the road, you might say.
Why not? You make your way over to the furling span and see the hollow-eyed figure you'd met there the previous day, the crier of Esanin, wrapped in their dusty robes. They still emit choked sobs as they chant the dead city's name, and red tears roll down their crusted cheeks. They look to be just barely clinging to the last gasps of life.
You have returned. I fear my time is fading. My voice is barely able to carry the name of Asanan on the wind.
It's done. I have seen to it that Asanan's name will be remembered. It lies carved upon the Morning Stone, the monument outside the mortuary. A gentle breeze passes across the bridge, carrying a faint whisper. And the being's eyes dry. The lines of their face begin to smooth. And the last tear that had run down their cheek simply vanishes.
Then Asanan is served. I will tell my fellow criers of the stone you have described. You have my gratitude.
It was nothing. I hope you and your kin spend the rest of your days peacefully. For just a second, the bustle of the hive calms to a halt. A collective moment of peace for the mourned city. Farewell. As you turn back to bid the crier goodbye, you see nothing but scuffs in the dirt where they had just been stood. Down on the banks below the bridge is a broad-shouldered woman shuffling amongst huge piles of timber. She kicks at the beams with iron-shod boots, and every once in a while bends down and wrenches a nail from one of the boards with her bare hands. She holds each one up, appraising it, then drops it into a leather sling bag. Greetings! She straightens up, hearing your approach. From her stance and the way her hand rests close to the hilt of her weapon, you can tell she's ready for trouble. You notice one of her eyes is clouded over with a milky haze.
That's close enough there, Cutter. What do you need from me?
I was told if I came here, I'd find a woman rooting about in a pile of lumber by the name of Nals. Is that you? Nals nods slowly.
That's me.
She pulls 3 nails from her sling bag, tossing them spinning into the air and catching them in her palm.
And if any one of you makes a move I don't like, you'll find one of these poking between your peepers, all right?
We're not here to cause any trouble. Just some questions. She nods.
Ask away, then.
I was told you know about the trash-packed archway in Ragpicker Square. I need to get through. Can you help me?
It's a portal, you know.
Her combative stance relaxes a little.
Stumbled on it quite by chance, I did. There's a small open space past the portal and a gate leading underground, but I figured no sense in just asking for trouble, so I just turned around and went right back. All you need is to have a handful of junk on you when you walks up to it, and you'll be able to pass right through.
A handful of junk?
Oh, just something useless, something you'd never have need of. Here, use this if you likes.
She chucks a small bag of metal scrap at your feet.
Odds and ends I pull from the wood that I can't sell. No sense in leaving them lying about, but now I can really do with them.
Thanks. Any idea what was beyond that gate?
Nope. And I'd suggest you didn't try and find out. Though I can see whatever I say, that's just what you mean to do.
Anything particular I should look out for?
All right, listen here. Iron Nails, they call me. I collect nails, and I sell them to a man named Hamreese in the lower ward, and I've shoved off anyone who's tried to jump my claim since.
Your claim?
Aye, that's what I call it. Honest labor's hard to come by in the hive, and I'm not about to let some sodden piker peel me off my work.
Her dead eye gleams maliciously.
The hive knows this spot is Iron Nails, it does.
Is that how your eye was ruined? Nals's face turns hard.
None of your business, Burke. Why, would you like a matching wound for your collection?
No. That particular one's not quite me.
Aye. And I don't think you have much room for another scar besides. Anyway, as I was saying, there ain't nothing in this hive that scares me. But no matter how tough you think you are, you don't live long if you push your business where you don't belong.
Yeah, I think I'm beginning to learn that the hard way. You pull out the small ornate box and show it to Nals. Just quickly, you heard of a Braskin who lives around here. I need to get this box to him.
Oh, Braskin, the piking fool. Oh, blimey, you really have gotten yourself into it.
Why? What do you know about this?
Well, the box I don't know much, but I do know it's been going about the hive for as long as I can remember. Each fool passing it to another. But Braskin, he's alright. He's got a big mouth though, and he boasts he could beat anyone in a fair fist fight, but he never got to face me. I'd have him on his ass in 6 seconds and he'd grovel at my feet.
I can believe it. Where can I find him?
His kip's just up top. You can almost see it from here. You tell him if he wants a real match, he can come and find me.
With a smile and a wink, she continues with her scavenging.
What in the name of the abyss are you doing in my house?
Sorry, the door was open.
Leave now, before I make you even more ugly than you already are.
A huge barrel-chested equinal jumps up from his seat by a lit fireplace, his horse-like features flaring in a sudden fury. I was asked to deliver this box into your care.
Oh well, why didn't you say so? So, go on, hand it over, and so you can be on your way.
As you present the box to Braskin, his expression changes from one of anticipation to that of amusement.
Oh, whoa there, whoa! I won't fall for that trick a second time. Put that thing away and leave.
I don't understand. Why won't anyone take this box? First Kuatra and now you.
Did you say Kuatra?
Braskin lets out a great bellow of laughter.
Oh, wait, that's the fellow who bought the box off me. I thought he got the best of me when he bought it. I guess he figured the gem alone was worth more than the price he paid me. Yeah, poor fellow didn't realize what he got himself into till it was too late.
Just what's so horrible about this box?
You mean you really don't know about that box you're holding? Well, I guess it won't hurt for me to tell you what I know.
He leans down and stokes the coals of his fire.
First off, so you don't get any ideas in your head, the curse on that box only affects the current owner. And to be the owner of the box, you have to willingly take possession of it.
Well, there goes the idea of just leaving it for someone else to find. So what's in the box?
Now that is a good question. That box has been around the hive since anyone can remember. There are many rumors flying about. As you can imagine, over time, the truth has been warped a little bit further with each retelling of the story.
Go on.
I've heard many a story about that box, and they all seem to have a recurring theme. The name given to that foul thing is Moridor's box, and the owner of the box will die should they or anyone else open it. As to the contents, who knows? Some say it's an ancient dragon, while others say it's the evil soul of Moridor himself. I cannot tell for sure, but just by looking at it, any soul can tell it's something evil, and one should have to be a fool to open it.
What am I supposed to do with it?
I would suggest you go see Chandler. She lives up over on Astral Way towards Mercer's Gate. You can't miss her, Kip. It's the only building that's not infested with rot and razorvine. It was from her that I won the box. Who knows? Maybe she'll have more knowledge on what to do with it. Or, you know, you can find some other clueless Burke to take it off your hands. Up to you.
In a moment, he has you held firmly by the arm and ushers you back onto the street.
Either way, I wish you luck, but I cannot help you anymore.
Wait. And the door closes behind you. Shalandra's tower does indeed stand out amongst the other buildings in the hive. Where the rest are dilapidated and a patchwork of misshapen boards, hers is intact and immaculate, with long sweeping curves giving it an almost organic look. As you go to knock on the oval doorway, it dissolves into a curtain of clear liquid, and your senses are overwhelmed with the floral scent of nectar. Inside, you see a tight cylindrical hallway stretching far above your head, and every surface is lined with luscious plant life, bursts of outlandish color interspersing the verdant green with their vibrant petals. You step into the center, and a veil of leaves pulls back from a spiral staircase twisting to the upper levels of the tower. A gentle hissing follows your ascent.
C'est lui qui protège mon affection, met les vieilles feuilles avec des serpents et mes descendants.
Sat in a study of arcane prowess is a cross-legged woman nestled in a pile of cushions. A bubbling kettle emits a trail of fragrant steam, and several glowing orbs dance in the air about her.
Zit. Je J'étais tellement proche cette fois-ci.
Her attention remains fixed on the volatile energy scattering between her palms.
Don't you know it is dangerous to interrupt a mage while they are evoking a spell?
She clasps her hands together, bows her forehead, and the energy dissipates harmlessly.
Luckily for you, I was only practicing. Well, what is it you want?
Her eyes flash yellow as she turns to address you. Apologies for the intrusion. Shalandra, I presume. I come here to learn more about this box. As you go to present it, an emerald snake coils about your arm and gently relieves it from your grasp.
Ah, oui. I remember it well. I acquired it some time ago. What do you wish to know about it?
Who did you get this from?
Let me think. I don't recall their name. I remember I was down in the marketplace looking for some spell components when some arcanoloth offered me this box. After a few provisionary tests, I found it to be cursed, but was intrigued by the spells woven into it, and so I purchased it anyway.
Did you find anything interesting?
I get the sense from your curiosity that I'm dealing with a fellow practitioner.
Her snake companion slithers beside her and weaves itself into her shawl.
For many years, I studied it, tried to learn its secrets. Spell upon spell upon spell has been woven into it. To my amazement, my studies reveal that all the spells are of the type used to confine fiends.
You mean there are fiends trapped within this box?
No, not fiends. A fiend. And judging by the sophistication and power of these spells, it would have to be one of significant standing and power in its realm.
I see. Do you know the history behind this box?
Sadly, no one does. Beyond it being called Moridor's box. Now, whether Moridor is the trapped fiend or the mage who trapped it, who knows? Would you like some tea?
No, thank you. If you were so intrigued by the box, what made you decide to give it away?
I was young and brash back then. In my relentless pursuit of knowledge, I carelessly undid one of the spells. Look closely at the hinges. It was like new when I had it. The signs of decay are an indication that the bindings are weakening. I realized I was in danger if I kept it any longer. So I held a contest to get rid of it.
A contest?
It was the most expedient way to pass it off. I simply invited all the bashers in the hive to a show of brawn and skill to determine who was best. These martial types are notorious for having big muscles and not much upstairs, if you know what I mean.
She winks.
They came like flies to honey. I offered some coin in the box as a prize. I believe some cardinal named Braskin won the contest.
Is it possible to undo the spells on this box?
Seeking to remove your connection to it, eh? Unfortunately, the spell that binds it to an owner is integral in keeping the fiend trapped inside. Essentially, that particular spell draws energy from the current owner and uses it to power one of the wards of confinement. That isn't the worst of it. The fiend inside can smell or sense this energy and would more than likely hunt down the person should it escape. It really is a no-win situation to own that box. Either it drains you of your energy, or the fiend within kills you.
Is there any way to safely dispose of it without hurting anyone?
It's possible. If you could find a way to remove the demon before opening the box, it would prevent the immediate problem. But then there's still a powerful fiend wandering the multiverse on the scent for your essence.
So what? I just keep this with me until the bindings break and hope I'm surrounded by enough powerful people to defeat the fiend when it cracks?
Now, there's an idea. But no, unless you plan on staying put, as soon as you leave the hive, the wards would shatter.
What do you mean?
This is what's fascinating. One of the spells bound to it anchors it in the hive, providing the first layer of the enchantment. The box has to remain here in order to maintain the spell. You can see why I was so intrigued.
Well, to the hells with that. What am I supposed to do? I can't stay in the hive forever.
As much as it pains me to admit, I am not sufficiently powerful enough to take on such a creature.
She pauses and takes a deep breath.
Now, it's been ages since I've been there, but there is a ruined cathedral located in the Alley of Dangerous Angles. A priest there by the name of Aola is an expert in all things banishment. He's barmy. He's hoping to rebuild his congregation there in the rubble. but it might be he can help.
Well, it doesn't look like I have any other options.
Oh, don't look so down. I'm sure you'll handle it. If you do manage to open the box without being torn to pieces, I really would appreciate if you could return it to me. I'll pay handsomely, of course.
One step at a time. You've been a great help. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Marking the edge of the hive, like a line of scorched earth, is the infamous Alley of Dangerous Angles, a cluttered shanty of charred structures that reach out like skeletal claws, ready to snag any who intend to pass through. The collective smog pouring over from the lower ward gathers in this no man's land, shading everything with a sooty darkness deepened further by the evening sky, a shroud for those who wish to remain inconspicuous. Despite its hostile nature, the alley jostles with fierce activity. Far too many eyes shift in your direction as you step into its gloom.
Greetings, stranger. Looks like you're in dark alley territory now. Also looks like you got a purse that could use some lightning. You better pray it's got enough.
This thug strides towards you in brutish confidence, clad in thick leather, a great hound snarling at his side.
I'm just looking for someone. I don't care what you're looking for. I care about looking inside that purse of yours.
How much is this gonna cost?
It ain't much,
He says, magnanimously, as a troop of well-armed thugs fan to either side of you.
A mere 10-piece of jink will get you through. As long as you stay out of our way, we won't bother you.
I'm assuming I don't have a choice.
You're a clever one. And no.
He takes your money and pockets it.
I'm looking for a priest named
hold
Aol.
on.
Toll is one thing, chant another.
Look, I'm not gonna just keep handing over more jink.
I'm not gonna guarantee your safety.
There is a whistle, and several darts scatter throughout the alley.
I'd leave what you can, scarred one, if you value that painted hide of yours.
The thugs disappear into the shadows as over a dozen new figures flood in, filling the alley with a glint of sharpened steel. These ruffians are adorned in brighter shades, with bladed flukes exaggerating their shoulders and the cuffs at their wrists drape with tattered and bloody lace.
I hope they weren't bothering you, Cutter.
Yeah, thanks, I guess. To whom do I owe this courtesy?
Courtesy of the Razor Angels, but no need for thanks. Driving off that Shiv's scum is just one of our more pleasing pains. Greetings to you, stranger.
This alley dweller greets you with a deep bow and a pantomime of politeness, her cold, bright eyes full of mischief.
You've chosen a auspicious day to pass through our lands. The toll for passage be a mere 10 coins.
What? I just paid that to those Burks you drove off.
Aye, and those Burks ain't our allies. The Shivs be our mortal enemies. Now, your responsibility is to even the score with us, or we'll lay your body on the ground. Gently, of course.
This is ridiculous. I just came here to get rid of this damn box, not join the turf war of some petty thieves.
Tis. You might want to take your words to our leader, Crystal.
She flashes a smile of bright and pointed teeth.
I'm sure she'll have plenty of interesting things to say about that. But look, no need to make this impolite. If you want to proceed, you pay the price. Or the penalty. Choice is yours.
Here's your coin.
You have the thanks of the Razor Angels. Go in peace, traveler.
Wait, I'm just looking for someone. He goes by the name of Aola. A priest, apparently. You know of them.
Never heard of them. Of course. What would a mere petty thief know about that?
She and her gang disappear once again into the dark timbers lining the alley about you.
Burke. Painted One, over here.
You see a rake-thin man poking his head out of a makeshift structure of burnt shingles and other cast-off roofing materials. He's wearing simple clothes that are relatively well kept, but as you approach, you notice his eyes are an icy blue, so bright they almost seem to glow.
You're looking for Aola. I know the one. Perhaps I can help. Come.
He leads you into the building, and the smell of strong wine and burning incense stings your nostrils. A group of 5 wizened figures stoop over a roiling cauldron, their heavy robes tacked with strange and bright trinkets that refract the light into a dazzling spectrum of color. Before they notice you, the slender man drags you into the shadows and speaks in hushed tones.
The masters, they are busy right now. There is still time. You must help.
How? What are you talking about?
Rourke is in trouble. Big trouble. Help you do. You must.
Just tell me what's wrong.
Yes. I'll tell you. You help me, you'll see what I can do. Aola, I can lead you to him, but I need 3 things, or the masters will never let me speak again.
All right, fine.
Hush.
Okay. What is it you need?
Rourke loose rings. Forgot them. Left in my tent with all his things. Friends need to magic with them. No rings. Be mad at Rourke. Never let him go. Never again.
You need me to get your rings from your tent. Why can't you get them yourself?
Can't leave. The alley's become dangerous. Have you not seen? But you, strong, smart, painted and scarred. Nothing to fear from an alley of angles so dark and charred.
All right. What are these rings?
1 ring is reddish-brown. You'll find it is reluctant to be found. Like a single token of rotten jink, it changes hands faster than you'd think. Another, shiny like the mirror that lines the tongues of liars and sinners. Last is pretty and yellow, but only fools fight over things steeped in the blood drawn by this fellow. Bring for Rourke, and to Aola you shall go. Whatever your questions, the answers he will know.
3 rings. 1 copper, 1 silver, 1 gold. All right. Where can I find this tent?
My tent. From it I fled, past the pleasing cries of those whose own blood to shed. Start there, behind the veil of angels' blades. But be quick, for time and life, like a weekday shadow, fades.
The Razor Angels. All right. I'll be back. You can't have been inside for longer than a few minutes, but as you step out into the Alley of Angles, the darkness has grown ominous. Thick, unnaturally so. The silhouettes of the ragged buildings above have bled to a murky smear, and as you fumble along the jagged walls, a figure emerges from the dim. It flits from building to building with frightening speed, its form mutable, seemingly only half there. Yet 2 bright eyes burn out of its haze, and their madness pierces your heart.
You.
Its voice is a blast of cold air.
Declare your allegiance. Do you hold for good or ill?
Who are you?
Some call me Black Rose. I am hunter, and a hunger. I am scourge. Now, declare your allegiance.
I don't understand.
You must choose, or the choice will be taken from you.
What choice?
2 forces vying for control. Neither can succeed, not while the other remains.
And why is that my problem?
This alley is torn asunder by opposing flames. The quenching of one allows the other to thrive. Slay, refuse, and everyone shall die.
I want no part of this. I will not choose.
Slay, your choice or not, their blood will be on your hands.
No, not if I don't get involved.
Too late for hesitation. There is only action. Choose to raise one, or all will fall. Now go with strife, soul, torment, and pain. Go, violent one.
The figure fades into the billowing smog, and meager light returns to the haunted alley.
Are you all right? Did you see that? See what?
Chief, you don't look so good.
We need to get this done, and fast. I don't like this place.
I mean, no, it's not like they could have called it the Alley of Playful Angels. Sorry, let's move on. Walking through the alley, it is hard not to feel the terror of its past. Something awful happened here. What remnants of the buildings that remain look to have once been residential. Crumbling shrines to forgotten powers, ruined statues, defaced and strewn with refuse, old fountains that once may have brought delight, now only choke out bitter ash, feeding the despair that lingers here. Even the newer structures are raised with little care, hatched together with scraps in necessity, or stained with blood and marred by the slashes of a blade. Temporary and desperate. Yet life still remains, either thriving on the brutal competition, or resilient to its constant wear.
Oh, the courteous traveller returns. Seeking answers or blood, Carter? Both we can oblige.
The roguish Razor Angel who greeted you before pounces off of a broken sedan chair, its once plush velvet torn into rags. She studies you closely, and her hand rests upon a fine silver blade.
I need to get through. I'm looking for Rock's tent.
Rock? That blood is an interesting one. Well, it's not for me to decide whether you come and go. I'll take you to Crystal. Follow me.
She leads you through a labyrinthine network of passages and low tunnels strung with tiny lanterns. A metallic taste hangs in the air, and you can occasionally hear the muffled cry of pain, or possibly pleasure. It's hard to tell as the sound rings around the broken walls. Eventually, you emerge into an open space of tents and stalls. Dozens of bladed vagabonds go about their business, tending to the wounded in a makeshift hospice, drinking liquid from pilfered chalices, and other activities that your eyes dare not linger too long upon. In the center of it all, sat upon a plinth of tattered rugs, you see a cool, collected woman. The glow of the brazier set in front of her shows a face set in hard, determined lines, deep in thought, as she draws upon a long-handled pipe of bone.
Pardon the interruption, mistress. This one is seeking permission to search our humble home.
The Razor Angel dashes forward and whispers into the ear of this matriarch.
Thank you, darling. You, come, sit.
She dismisses your guide and gestures towards a pile of cushions opposite her.
I am Crystal, leader of these Razor Angels. You are in our home. Yes,
She holds up a battle-worn hand to silence you.
I am still talking. You are in our home, at the courtesy of my darling angels. You have paid our toll, and are welcome here in the alley. But I am told you have met with Rock, the Foolish. I would know why you speak with such a one.
Rock, the Foolish, has offered me aid in finding one who I would seek. I have been told of a priest by the name of Aola, who presides over a cathedral here in the ruins of the alley.
This cathedral, do you not see? It is all about you. Not as grand as it once was, surely. But I know not this Aola. Rock, for certain, dwelt here for a time. He fled when things got hot. I don't blame him, fool as he is.
She takes another deep draw of her pipe, and the blue smoke trails about her.
What do you want here?
Tell me about yourself.
I am the leader of the Razor Angels. That's really all you need to know. I created them. They follow my commands.
And who are they? What are the Razor Angels?
We're itinerants. We've been forced to move time and again. We settled here at the same time as Rotten William and his dark alley shivs. And now we're in a fight for our lives. We came here when bigger gangs took over the trash warrens near Ragpickers Square.
And what are the dark alley shivs?
They're a bunch of murderous thugs. Like rabid dogs, they'll bite any hand, whether it feeds them or not. A plague upon this alley.
Tell me about the alley.
This place caught fire when a barmy spell singer took it into his head that it'd look better scorched as you see it now. But the embers of conflict still smolder amongst the ashes. All it needs is a single spark to ignite.
Her eyes burn like coals as she stares into yours. You mentioned the trash warrens, and a larger gang that took it over.
Yes. Why does that interest you?
I'm looking for Pharod. She spits red phlegm into the fire before her.
Wormhair. I won't ask why you'd seek out such scum. If you make it through the trash warrens, then you found him.
If I make it.
Pharod's goons aside, those who dwell in the Ragpickers Square are more desperate than any you'll find in this haunted alley. Only fools go unprepared.
That may be. For now, I need to search the fool Rock's tent. Otherwise, I won't be going anywhere.
I'll have one of my angels show you to his dwelling. I have no need of his oddities.
Thank you.
Before you go, I have one favor to ask of you. This slice of alley just isn't big enough for us and the dark alley shivs. We've got heart. They've got hate. Eliminate their leader, the Rotten William, and you'll have an ally here in us for the rest of your life. You'd be surprised how far a good friend can take you.
And how would I even go about that?
You're neutral here. And intriguing, I must say. He'll give you audience, no doubt. The quickest way to kill a dog is a dagger through the throat. You bleed him. We'll bleed the rest.
I'm not a killer.
Your eyes tell me more than your scars. But just so. This is not a demand, but a request from one to another, weary of the deaths to which they can account. Go, now.
She raises a hand once again, and you notice, despite the worn skin, her fingernails are immaculate and exceedingly sharp.
Darling, take him to the fool's tent. Let him leave with what he wants.
With a courteous bow, the Razor Angel Darling takes you to one of the rickety tents that line the walls of this burnt cathedral.
Don't take our mistress's kindness for granted, Cutter. There are bloods more noble than you who've been cut short by her words in my time.
Noted. Now, will you leave me to my search, or will I have your company on every one of my tasks this evening?
Tis. You should be so lucky, traveler. Farewell.
In a moment, she's gone, and you duck inside the musty tent. Hey, what you doing in my tent? This man before you abruptly springs up and stares at you, twitching nervously. Behind him is a pile of rubble and discarded boxes. Who are you? What are you doing?
I wasn't doing nothing, I swears it.
Why didn't you tell me what you weren't doing?
I don't have to tell you anything, no. Get out of my tent.
I was told this is Rock's tent.
Blast. You're another friend of Rourke's. Yeah, this was one of the tents he called home. But as you can see, it is now occupied. Now leave me alone.
I'm not going anywhere till I get what I came for.
Oh, yeah? Well, what's that?
3 rings. 1 copper, 1 silver, 1 gold. You know anything about these? His hand, balled in a fist, twitches at his side.
Do I? Well, I have news for you, Burke. You're not the only one looking.
What do you mean? His eyes, filled with panic and hate, flicker to the entrance. What do you mean? And he breaks.
Stop!
You leap to intercept him, both crashing into the dust. He tries to wriggle free, but you have him pinned. Flailing, he rakes a grimy palm across your cheek, and you slam it into the ground. Filled with madness, he spits into your face, the foulness of his saliva burning in your eyes. In desperation, he draws his free hand to his mouth, and you see a glint of silver pass through his lips. You wrap your hands around his throat, his body thrashing weakly beneath you, nails clawing at your wrists, eyes glaring in hateful fury. You squeeze harder, and he struggles to keep his chokes down as his skin grows red, veins bulging on the side of his face. You hold your grip as he gasps for feeble air, and with a dribbling sputter, a shiny ring emerges from his mouth, clattering to the floor. Red becomes purple, tears wash into bloody drool. And you squeeze harder.
Chief, no!
Enough! Dakon grasps your shoulders, wrenching you from the choking man, who splutters violently, clutching at his neck. Do not lose yourself in this madness. He sprawls to his knees, retching like a dog as you go to take up the silver ring, still slick with his foul spittle.
You Burke! You're mad! You nearly killed me.
I'll finish the job if you don't tell me where the others are.
I don't know.
You raise a fist.
Wait. Ron William has one. His dogs have been on the hunt for them, but I found it, and he paid a pretty penny for handing it in. The other, it's nowhere I could find. Checked every tent in this accursed place for this.
Where is this Ron William?
Just go to wherever in the alley most reeks at piss. Those mutts mark their territory with a foul stink.
You reach an arm down to the cretinous man, and he flinches in fear.
Leave me alone.
I'm not gonna hurt you anymore. I just needed the ring.
Now stay back!
He sprays blood at your outstretched hands, then scampers to his feet and flees the tent into the night. You turn and see Mort with confusion in his eyes. Dakon's face is stone, but one of the rings is now yours. Let's move on. Tension is high as you walk through the alley. Every shadow harbors treacherous intent, and you can't help but feel a gaze lurking within, ready to see 2 glowing eyes burning from the darkness.
Make the choice, or have it taken from you, Violent One.
You cannot tell if this voice is in your mind.
This is probably the worst place we can be in Sigil at the worst time.
As you reach the shiv's ground, the stench of ammonia brings tears to your eyes. Several dogs chained to the wall become agitated at your presence, barking fiercely and sniffing as you approach.
Who in the abyss are you? You know what? I don't care, Burke. Go talk to Rotten William. You don't like your answers, you'll get cut. You don't talk to him, you'll get cut by the rest of us either ways. Now get!
Much like the Razor Angels, the dark alley shivs are heavily dug in. Bales of razorvine coil about thick barricades, and several platforms house well-armed guards, with moorhounds tethered to posts yammering as you pass. All eyes are on you, Mort and Dakon close by your side. At the core of this compound, you see a hard-edged man sat on the ground beside a huge red mastiff. His face is sharp and confident, yet somehow seems diffused. His eyes are clear and cruel. He seems both indolent and poised. and he holds a broad machete in his calloused hands. So, another visitor for Rotten William. Welcome to the kennel, traveler. Speak your mind. Make it good and perhaps we'll let you go. I'm here in the alley, looking for a priest by the name of Aola. I need their help in getting rid of this box. Easy go. That's a fine-looking gem mounted there. Worth a hefty bit of coin, I reckon. You want it? Like as not, it'll only go to warm our fires if I took it. But no, I'm no clueless. His mouth twitches, and curious hunger lights in his eyes. Let's just say, I'm no stranger to cursed things. Worth a try. No, I can appreciate that. We all have to fend for ourselves here in the hive. But make no mistake, if you open that here, you'll have no allies in us. I don't want any trouble. Oh. Well, from what I've gathered, trouble has a bit of a habit of following you around. That aside, what is it you want from me? I'm looking for something, or several things. 3 rings to be precise, for the full rock. William's jaw clenches. Apparently you may have one. I need it. Huh. So, there it is. Well, you're well informed. He raises to his feet and displays a gold ring upon the forefinger of his left hand. But I won't let it go lightly. What do you need? Just a small blood fee. His tongue curls over his teeth, and he begins to pace in a circle about you. Ooh, you've gone all quiet. Good thing for you is that it ain't your blood I'm after. It's the blood of another. I'm sure you've met. A miserable Burke by the name of Crystal, who has the temerity to try holding a piece of my territory from me. It's simple. I want you to make her lost. Kill her. I'm no assassin. It's my only offer. I'd be surrounded, they'd never let me leave alive. Well, then you'd be no more use to me either. I won't do this. With an unnatural ferocity, he shoves his arms into your chest, knocking you to the ground. Then let's not waste any more time, eh? Last chance, Cutter. Death or slaughter. I won't choose. He lets loose a piercing whistle. Shivs, get rid of this offal. The alley erupts in a frenzy. Dogs, wild and howling, snap at their leashes. The dark alley shivs, unable to contain their rage. Shrieking through the air, a hail of bolts scatter across the radiance of Dakon's glaive. Rotten William throws a rapid swing, sparks flying as you roll aside, a desperate madness contorting in his face. Furious, he kicks at the great mastiff quivering beside him, yet it remains unmoving to its master's command. You scramble to your feet and see a rabble of shivs are upon you now, held bay by Dakon and Mort. With another cruel lash from Rotten William, the hound finally loses control, a ferocious bite snapping at the hand, shredding it in bloody vengeance. And with an agonized cry, Rotten William falls to the ground, the mastiff mauling in its hateful fury. Dismay descends upon the alley, and from the growing darkness, the deadly Razor Angels emerge, their darling captain catching your eye across the field of violence, her blade dancing amongst dark alley throats. You walk over to the ravaged body of Rotten William, his once dutiful hound licking its wounds, and claim the golden ring, stained in the blood of his tattered hand. The darling strides towards you out of the slaughter, a wide, pointed smile on her face. You have the thanks of the Razor Angels. We part friends, and shall remember you. She tosses a large patched purse at your feet, and holds forth a dull steel ring. What's this? The 3rd ring, of course. I thought it was supposed to be copper. Then you haven't been paying attention. Tis. Like a single token of rotten jink, it changes hands faster than you'd think. As she says the words, darkness pools about you. Her eyes glow bright and cold. Her form blends into an inky haze, and the ring drops into your palm, rusting into a reddish brown.
choice, Violent One.
With the Dark Alley shivs routed, you leave the Razor Angels to pick through what remains of their territory. Most have fled, others bow in supplication. Several defy death in rabid rage, baited by the cruelty of their adversaries. The cloudy night provides a somber cover for the anguish that now draws upon your face. You daren't look either Mort or Dakon in the eyes, and you walk in silence. Rourke's 3 rings bruising the palm of your clenched fist. Again, poking his head from the same charred structure, you see the wayfish fool. He beckons you over, wild glee glinting in his bright blue eyes.
Did you bring? Yes, I can tell you have. The scent in the air reeks of violence and wrath.
I got all the rings. Here, now take me to Aola.
Patience, new friend. I've shown it to you. Many thanks I do have, but there's still a task to do. Come, follow. I'll show you what I mean. After all, you must be intrigued following what you've seen.
All right, let's go. Inside, the air is humid and thick, and the strange boozy smell, stronger than before, is almost overpowering. The wizards have enclosed themselves tighter about the cauldron, huffing its potent vapors, their chants having now descended into an incoherent babble.
Do not come close. Remain just right here. If in me you can trust, you will have nothing to fear.
What do you mean?
Hush.
He holds a finger to his lips, then slowly approaches the huddle. One of the robed figures turns, mid-verse, eyes closed, a sheen of sweat covering their face. Rourke then gently places each ring into the mage's cupped hands, who turns back and allows them to spill out of his fingers into the bubbling liquor. A billowing steam begins to fill the room as the chants grow louder, more frantic. The smell shifts from hot wine to a burning, sulfurous stench that makes your eyes water. And what you witness next is difficult to fully comprehend. Obscured mostly by the haze, a blurry shape emerges from the cauldron with an odd chittering sound. It's not large, but the chants rapidly change to yelps of madness and terror. One of the wizards begins to flee, roaring for you to let him pass, but trips to the floor and is immediately dragged back into the thickening murk. A horrid slurping noise follows shortly after, accompanied by the euphoric laughter of your new friend Rourke. You can barely see his silhouette, but his shining eyes seem to pierce through the mist. You remain still, and no threat seems to come your way. The sounds subside, and the cloud disperses, revealing Rourke, now bouncing in quiet hysterics, the gently bubbling cauldron, 5 robes laid in empty piles on the ground, and a strange green insect-like creature about the size of a small dog. It chirps, almost sweetly, and its face is mostly taken up by 2 large, benign and watery eyes. It shifts its focus to you and smiles, showing a neat row of fangs, each about the length of one of your fingers.
Oh, the old ones are gone, but I won't mourn nor sing. Rourke always makes new friends, one such as you, and this little green thing.
This is absolutely insane. What just happened?
Let us not ask questions when the answers are best left unknown. Instead, we'll talk of rewards to whose worthiness you've shown. But first, I grow tired of this unsightly charade. I think it's time I return to form and shed this image I've made.
As his rhyme concludes, he stretches out his arms, and with a great yawning sigh sheds his visage like a veil of cloth, gently cascading down his shoulders, disappearing before it touches the ground. And standing where Rourke once was, you see a tall, muscular man with elegant features, his bright, icy blue eyes alight with joy and pride.
Oh, that's much better. Nice to see you as, well, I suppose.
Who are you?
Aola, of course.
I am he who you were looking for, am I not?
Well, yes, and I figured, but why?
Why not?
That's not an answer.
Well, it's my answer. I'm sorry, friend. I thought you'd be impressed. I even changed my voice. I spoke in rhyme.
What? I see I was mistaken. For a moment, he looks almost as confused as you feel right now.
Well, never mind. Let us not dwell on this. You came seeking me and did all that I asked. I owe it to you at least to hear what you would need.
I was told you would be able to help me get rid of this box. Moridor's box. It's said to have a powerful fiend trapped inside that, if opened, will hunt whoever currently owns it.
Aola seems to consider things for a moment, and then speaks to you. I, a humble disciple to the great Eoscar, can indeed help you. First, you must relinquish the box to me. A respectful payment for the task you have done. Hesitantly, you hand him the box. Aola then snaps his fingers and traces several lines through the air, creating a small pyramid of light. He then proceeds to place the box within the pyramid and mutters a short prayer to Eoscar. The familiar shimmering of a portal soon fills in each triangular face, and Aola then casually reaches through and flips open Moridor's box. You scream in an attempt to stop him, but are too late. Almost instantly, it begins to disintegrate into a sickly cloud of dust that fills the pyramid. A feeling of immense dread falls upon the room, and it is all you can do to keep yourself from bolting. But remaining in place, you notice that as the tendrils of smoke touch the sides of the pyramid, they are drawn into the swirling vortex of the portals. And as the last tendril disappears, so too does the feeling of dread. The pyramid of light collapses, with the box's ruby clattering to the ground, and Aola smiles, a bit nervously at you. Well, witness the power of Eoscar, the keeper of gateways.
I'm sure a fiend of such power that it required so many spells to contain it will have no problem making its way back here, and when it does, it's going to be looking for you.
Oh, I've taken that into consideration. You see, each side of the pyramid contained a portal to a different plane. In effect, I scattered its essence far and wide across the multiverse. Did you know there are races out there that consider demons a sort of delicacy?
Well, thank you. I mean, I wasn't sure how I'd be rid of it.
He begins to chuckle softly as he reaches down and takes up the ruby before handing it to you. Here. Further payment for your services. Or better yet, consider it a gift from a dear friend.
Who are you?
It is I, Aola, the dutiful disciple to the great Eoscar.
Eoscar. But that was a god, right? One of the powers.
Eoscar is the keeper of gateways. Within Eoscar lies the power of portals, doorways, and opportunity. Sigil, also known as the City of Doors, used to be the home of Eoscar until he was cast out by the Lady of Pain. Now, there are very few worshippers to Eoscar here because she forbids it. But that will soon change, however, as I help the people to see the greatness of Eoscar. Not even she can stand against the will of the people.
Why are there so few?
Well, over the years, I've had many disciples. Unfortunately, they all disappeared. It's quite frustrating, actually. As soon as they become initiates, I never see them again. Lately, there has been a rumor going around that the lady herself is the cause. Now, no one comes by anymore. You are the first soul I've seen stop by in a long while. Oh, barring them, of course. He gestures to the 5 robes piled behind him. Unworthy fools, all.
Well, I don't imagine many people come through the alley these days.
Right you are. Although, I do feel a shift of balance. Fewer minds vying for control. I think I like it this way.
Right. Well, I should be going. Thank you. I have no idea what I just saw.
Nor do I. And with a wink, he picks up the chirping creature and disappears. Chief, I'm gonna step in here, figuratively. It's time we left this place, okay?
I concur. Yeah. I'm sorry. I am. This has not been a good day.
No,
No, it has not. Relieved to be free from the horrors of the alley, you return to the comparative peace and somewhat more open streets of the Hive. But with the gem from Moridor's box now in your hand, there's little joy to be found in this victory. What choice did you have? At which point could you have stopped and said no? Is there any way things could have been different? Few answers come to mind, and none of them bring any peace. But as if in some twisted joke of fate, as you tread the cobbles deep in thought, you hear a familiar voice echoing from an alcove on the street. Nestled in a bundle of blankets, you see the very same man from this morning, Ma, who asked you to deliver the box. His eyes take on a wild look as he sees you approach.
What you be doing here? I said deliver the box. Yeah, you don't still have it, do you?
No, I got rid of the box. He clutches at his chest as if in great pain, but a broken-toothed smile spreads across his face.
Oh, it does me heart good to hear you say that. Now, before you kills me for the horrible deed of tricking you into taking that box, please, let me try and explain.
I'm listening. Explain yourself.
Well, the long and short of it be that the box has been around long as anyone can remembers. Chant is some folks were fighting, and then when they was done, a huge demon was imprisoned inside the box. Others say an evil wizard made it just for seeing others suffer. No one rightly knows what the truth behind the box be, but the owner of the box would have died should it have been open.
Why didn't the first owner just put the box where no one could find it?
It seems it would have been as simple as that, but who among us could live with a death sentence lingering over their head? 'Twill drive any sane man over the edge, having to worry about the whereabouts of the damnable box all the times.
Why me?
Well, first, I haven't seen you around here before. You see, I needed a clueless Burke such as yourself to accept the box and become the new owner. Everyone's round here knows not to take it, not for any price. Secondly, if you didn't examine the box when you had it, you may not have noticed that whatever magics were placed on it were weakening. With me being the current owner and all, you can see I needed to pass it on right quickly. Besides, if anyone looked ready to pass on to the next realm, it was you.
You want to talk about passing on to the next realm? Well, keep talking or you'll find out about it.
Well, obviously I've picked a cutter. No small means. Surely this has been but a minor inconvenience to one such as you. I offer this weapon and some jink to line your purse as a reward for your troubles.
He unwraps a bolt of cloth and lifts up a simple yet elegant-looking axe.
It is all I own, and coincidentally, 'twas what that rat Kuatra used to get me to take possession of the box myself.
Ma is not a large man, but hands you the weapon with relative ease, and when it passes into your grip, you find that it is almost as light as any small blade you've held before, and its edge is frighteningly sharp. Keep your coin. I won't say no to the axe, though.
Of course. I thank you, Cutter. A truer blood than there was.
What will you do now?
Why? What do you mean?
Well, you need no longer worry about the box, nor who has it. You've coin enough to keep a roof over your head. What will you do?
Well, I suppose I hadn't thought about it yet. Old habits and all that, eh?
Well, you should. What was the point in all this if nothing changes?
Well, sometimes there isn't a point, Cutter. We're in Sigil. I exist. That is all.
I refuse to accept that. Take care of yourself, Mar. With only a few hours of darkness remaining, the three of you head back towards Arlo's flophouse. But with the events of the day racing through your mind, You are certain there'll be no rest for you right now?
You're not coming inside, Chief?
No, I think I'll keep walking for a bit. You two go ahead.
If it's privacy you want, you need only ask.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's what I want.
All right. Suit yourself.
Don't have too much fun without us. All right, I'll do my best. You walk for another hour or so, the twinkling lights from faraway wards above drawing your mind to the vastness of the city around you. You cannot help but feel wonder at this strange and confusing sigil. It has been but barely a week since you awoke in the mortuary, and you have seen and felt more than you could imagine was possible. Day 7. Hour 5 after any peak. I don't even know where to start with the events of the last day. Fleeing from a guardian spirit. Waking up trapped by some arachnophilic psychopath. Being forced to make decisions that change and end other people's lives. I'm not even sure if I did make any decisions. Things keep happening that I have no control over. Yet I seem to play an integral part in their deliverance. It cannot mean nothing. I refuse to accept that there's no point in all of this. But I have no control. I have no idea who I am or what I'm doing here. People see me and they see some past that had nothing to do with what I am now. But I don't think that ignoring that past will make it go away. You cannot have control over something that you do not understand, and while that may be okay, if I do not understand what other people see when they look at me, I will never have control of myself. I'll never... I'll never... You finish up writing in your journal. Some thoughts too broad and unformed to be properly put into words right now, and continue walking the streets until a pale light fills the sigil sky. As promised, you return to Shalandra's Kip with news of your success in ridding the curse of Moridor's box, and while sad that you could not save the box itself, she gladly accepts the ruby once mounted upon it, even sharing some of her spells for your book in payment. Leaving her home, you find yourself amongst the market on Powers Row as it sets up for the day's trade. Workers jostle crates of goods to their stalls. Eager shoppers arrive early, hoping to find the choicest picks before competition gets too high. And setting up a small trestle table, draped with a plain black cloth, you see a thin, yellow-skinned humanoid, covered with a variety of dazzling tattoos. Another Gitzerai. His eyebrows have been accented with black charcoal lines, and his teeth are filed to points. He sees you and waves you over, rattling a set of dice in his hand.
Hekeo greets you. You've come to play a game, yes?
All right, show me how to play. Geower reaches into his tunic and pulls out a coin.
Well, this coin, your coin.
He places it at your feet and pulls out another.
This coin? Geower's.
He places this coin at his own feet, then holds up 2 dice between his thumb and index finger.
The dice? We both roll 1, yes?
Sure, go on.
You roll higher? Both coins. Yours. Geower roll higher? Mine. Neither rolls higher? The coin stays for another roll. So, how much coin will lie at your feet?
How about this? You place a hefty pouch of coins in front of him, and he smirks.
I am humbled by your offer, but this is the first hand of the day. I cannot match your confidence.
Instead, you take out 10 copper pieces as your stake, which he gladly matches. You both roll the dice for several rounds, earning back approximately as much as you had lost, before Gaoa stops and nods, frowning.
It is enough. For now. But perhaps we shall play again later, you and I.
Oh, wait. Is something wrong? Gaoa regards you closely for a moment, then nods.
Never do I indulge in Hashma's folly. Never do I cheat, human. But I see fortune, read it, know it in the face of another. However, you? In you I see nothing. I know nothing. You have no luck, no fortune, neither good nor ill. You make your own, perhaps. I do not know.
He places his dice back into his tunic.
We might play later, perhaps. But no more at this moment.
All right. Farewell. A little stunned by the gambling Githzerai's proclamation, you continue to wonder about the market and see the strange squat figure of Reekwind, the storyteller. He spots you as you approach, bobbing his head eagerly and staring at you with his huge eyes. As you near him, you are again struck by the smell of urine and feces that surrounds him. Greetings, Reekwind.
Greetings.
Do you have any more stories for me?
Tell you a story, I can. I will. But you know the rules. 3 coppers must I see.
He takes the copper and raises it to his mouth, gums each coin carefully, then, to your surprise, places all 3 on his tongue and swallows.
Best purse. Best purse there is, Belly. Belly. A story. A story. But which one?
He smacks his lips, scratching his dirty rags. I want to hear the story of the man who came to this city without a name, memory, and spoke with the cursed storyteller who warned him of the danger of names. Reekwind stops twitching and scratching for a moment and stares at you.
That tale? Oh, that tale costs nothing, for it is worth nothing. And it is worth noting that it would be a sad tale indeed.
Nevertheless, I would hear it.
Where would such a tale begin?
Reekwind grunts, then gives a reeking wheeze that makes your eyes tear up. He seems to be thinking. It would begin with a man waking up in the mortuary, believed dead. But in truth, only his memories are dead. Reekwind nods, then studies you and starts scratching himself more violently, as if to give himself scars.
Dead. But not dead. No memories. No memories. No name.
He escapes the mortuary, enters the hive, and speaks to a man who let his true name slip once, and has regretted it since.
Yes. Yes. Much danger in naming. Perhaps the man to whom the Nameless One speaks is a warning to the danger of names. Perhaps he who has forgotten his name is better off.
Is he? Is it better to suffer the truth with all its consequences? Or is it better to remain ignorant? Which of the 2 men is better off?
It is your question. Your tale.
He speaks slowly.
It is you who must answer it.
Where a named man moves, he is followed. When a nameless one moves, his name leaves no trail. He is protected against those that would do him harm, including himself. But the man who knows his true name is better off, for he knows himself and is stronger for it.
That is a tale. A tale with a moral that tells the teller's morals. A tale that will answer itself in time. In time.
It must have an answer. And every tale has an ending. I will refuse to accept it any other way. Requin scratches himself for a moment, nodding, then reaches into the folds of his robe and flicks you a coin.
For such a tale, a clipped copper.
He sneers.
No more, for the tale's not finished yet. Not yet.
A fair price. Farewell, Requind. I will see you again. Thank you for listening to Planescape Torment, the unofficial audio series, a RevocerGM production. To support the show and those involved, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or donating via our Ko-fi page. Links to both are in the description.
Hey, Chief, you okay? You feeling better after a little peace and quiet?
Sure.
What did you get up to?
Oh, just walked around, tried to clear my head, organize my thoughts. You know, updated my journal.